Are you hypercritical of yourself? Do you maybe not love yourself or even worse, hate yourself? Well, you're in luck because today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to love yourself. This is the Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's going on, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
Danny, have you ever not loved yourself?
Yeah, I think I have in the past, and it's a horrible, horrible feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very hard. I think everybody struggled with it in probably a matter of degree. But
Yeah.
once you start loving yourself, I think things are a lot better.
Yeah, some people definitely more than others. And I think like American or maybe Western society, it's easier not to love yourself. I remember I heard this thing about the Dalai Lama. He was once giving a lecture, and somebody asked him, because the Dalai Lama had a translator because he didn't speak all these different languages. And so somebody asked him, like, what do I do if I don't love myself? And the Dalai Lama like had his translator translate it like 4 or 5 times. He just couldn't understand it because he just couldn't believe that
Yeah.
somebody wouldn't love themselves. And then once he understood, like the person didn't love himself, he started crying.
Yeah, well, think about how just contradictory that is, right? I mean, you are yourself.
Hmm.
How can you not love yourself? If anybody, like,
Yeah, well, it's very easy in the West. In America,
yeah,
very easy,
yeah,
especially if you're not
it is.
keeping up with the Joneses or the Kardashians or anyone else. So, that being said, all of you guys who are still with us after that intro, you're in luck because today we're going to give you each three short, quick tips for
Oh, this is our quick fix.
how to
Shit.
love yourself.
Yeah.
We're not experts by no means, but maybe we have some insight that could be helpful. So, my first one is realize you'll never be different from that person that you are now. And the reason that I say this is because a lot of people are like, I'll love myself when I have that body or when I have that spouse or when I have that house or
Oh,
that
yeah.
amount of money or that car or that thing, whatever else. We'll be happy when we have those things. We'll love ourselves when we have those things. But until then, I'm going to hate myself and just do all this stuff. And it's like we have this false mental model because we'll never get to like
Yeah.
right now, the only thing you have is what you have right now. So you might as well start practicing loving what you have right now. And then when you get that other stuff, you can love yourself then too.
No, I like that one too because it's important. Like those external things aren't going to change you, and they're not going to change your attitude towards yourself at all. And I think people we make the mistake that it will, and then we're always, we always find out the truth once we get it, that it doesn't really change our state of mind or how happy we are or how we feel about ourselves.
Yeah. And plus you've built up the habit of delaying your loving yourself. So if you're
Yeah.
not doing it now, once you get that thing you say you're going to love yourself for, you're not going to do it then anyways.
Yeah, you've already trained yourself. I like that
Mm-hmm.
one. My first one is stop making excuses and start acting. And I think this is important because at least personally, this is more like, I guess, anecdotal, but you know, I always have a hard time when I'm like, down and stuff when I'm not doing things because I'm not like taking action. I'm not like, living my life. I'm not making choices. And I think once you start doing that for yourself, that can really help sort of affirm your value and affirm that you have worth to yourself. And that makes it easier to love yourself because you have things that you can point to about yourself that you love, things that you've done, choices that you've made, so forth and so on.
Yeah, fake it till you make it. And they say that action follows, or no, emotion follows action. Emotion follows motion. That's what it is. So if you start taking the motions of someone who loves themselves, eventually you just might love yourself.
Thank God you know all I'm saying.
I know,
Right?
right? If it's the
They
saying, it's
never
got to be
remember.
true. All
Yeah, they're always good.
right. My second one is compare yourself to yourself. And this is for two reasons. One, if you compare yourself to others, you'll just be disappointed. But two, actually, if you look back at yourself through your life, there's a good chance that you've gotten better in some areas throughout your life, and you've actually done stuff that was for your own benefit. There could be some people who are at rock bottom right now. So maybe for them, it's hard to look back and find some stuff. But for a lot of people, you've probably had somewhat making some progress throughout life, and you can look back at yourself and be like, hey, I did that for myself. I did a good job. I'm a good person. That type of thing.
No, I like that one because I think we also don't realize how much we've actually done or how much growth and change we've actually accomplished in our lives because we don't often like reflect on it or think back. And when you make self comparisons, you actually become aware of it. And I would say even when you are at rock bottom or severely depressed or something, even little changes when you look back, you can still make that comparison and see that you've made a difference, that you're not the same person you were the other day. And that can be a good starting point to becoming what you want to become and actually loving yourself,
Mm. Hmm.
I like that one. My next one is invest in yourself, keep learning, keep growing. I think this is really important too, because I think, a lot of us are very critical when we don't feel like we're making forward motion or, we're constantly focused on outward things. I think when you're focused on learning and growing, you open your mind and you're more, you're more constantly focused on your own sort of self rather than things outside of you. Like what skills you have, what and how you're developing, things like that. And it keeps reminding you that you are valuable, you have worth.
Yeah, and I think it's important what you said, invest in yourself, not buy yourself stuff, because those are two kind of like different ideas. Like
Yeah, totally
invest in
different.
yourself is buying things for yourself that you expect to have a greater payoff in the future, as opposed to just
Yeah.
like, you know, what is it called? Retail therapy, buying yourself stuff just to try and make
Yeah.
yourself feel better. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
My last one is I got this from the book Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And it was written by Naval Ravikant's brother, Kamal Ravikant.
Really?
Yeah, go figure.
I
But
didn't know you had a brother. Huh.
it's neither did I. And then I read the book. How about that? Uh,
There you go.
yeah, but uh, he says, say, I love myself to yourself multiple times throughout the day, at least 10 times a day. And you can just do it all in a row. Best if you're doing it looking in a mirror, looking right at your eyes. But, I do it a lot of times when I'm waiting, like when I'm waiting in an elevator or when I'm waiting in line somewhere or when I'm stuck in traffic. Just like anytime when I'm just kind of sitting there and there's nothing else to do, I just start doing it just to kind of get it going in the brain.
That's a good idea too, because they always say like saying things out loud too is like much better than like just inside, because you actually like really affirm it and you hear it too, instead of just like hearing it just internally in your like kind of consciousness. I like that one. And
Mm-hmm.
you keep reminding yourself the same thing that you are worthy of love. My last one is believe in yourself. I think this is important too. Like you have to believe that you have value, that you are loved, that you can be loved, that you can do more with your life. I think that is kind of necessary, and you have to kind of cultivate that belief.
Mm. Yeah, definitely have to believe in yourself because that's like that's like it's like a self-reinforcing thing. You had to believe in
Yeah.
yourself a little bit and then you get better and then you believe in yourself more and yeah, then you're just loving yourself like all get out.
I
So,
think it's true of all of them. The more you do them, they just keep building.
mm,
You
yeah,
know?
so by
Yeah.
the end of this six, people should be loving themselves like real hard, you know? So, anyways, that's all for
Uh,
this little quick fix, how to love yourself. Thank you so much for joining us. If you did enjoy it, make sure to share it with friends, family, like, subscribe. Check us out on YouTube, where you get your podcasts. This is the Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. I'll see you later, Danny.
Later, Randy.